Alright guys, so here we are in the Spears and Munsell UHD benchmarking disc. We're going to go up to the peak versus size, and we're going to start with a 2% window here in the Kalman software. So we're going to start with 2%. Okay, for a 2% window, you guys can clearly see 3286, 3285. So 3286 is the peak. That's what we have for a 2% window. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next window stimulus. And again, doing this in real time so you can see the brightness for yourself. We're going to go to a 5% window. And then for a 5% window, you can look and see we have 2275, 2544. So 2544 is going to be the peak. Okay, and it holds pretty decently, right? Okay, so then we're going to then go to the next window stimulus, and that's going to be a 10% window stimulus. Okay, and you can see 15, now we're at 24, 28, 32. That's about our peak right there. And again, just doing this in real time so that you guys have the information, you can see it, right? Okay. Now we're going to go to our next window of peak brightness. So we're going to go to a 25% window. Okay. And it's at 2800 right now. 28 and some change. So again, extremely bright. Now keep in mind, this is SDR. This is not HDR. Right? Okay. Now we're going to go to a 50% window. And the 50% window is at 863. Now 1500. Okay. As you can clearly see there, right? And that's for a 50% window. 1576 is the peak. And then we go to a 75% window. And a 75% window is at 1071. Holds that pretty well too. And last but not least, we're going to go to a 100% window, where we're looking at 829 or 827.9 rather. 828 now, so I'll call it at 828, and it holds that pretty well. So as you can see across the entire spectrum, this is a wildly bright TV. You won't have any problem getting some really bright highlights out of the thing. It's just the global brightness is really bright, and it doesn't refine where highlights are placed like you would have on the Samsung S95D, but the global brightness will be just really, really bright. So here we are in HDR10. This is, again, the Spears and Munsell UHD benchmarking disc, and we're going to go on ahead to the peak versus size again, and we're going to do this again, starting with the 2% window. Okay. And the 2% window, 13, 18, 25. That's where it is for the 2% window. Okay, now we're going to go back, and we're going to go to a 5% window. And again, I'm doing this in a very real world way so that you can see it. 38, 39, 3973. That was its max. So you guys could see it in a very, very real world kind of way. That again in HDR, absolutely bright, over 3900 nits. You saw that right there, and that was again on a 10% window, I believe. We're going to do the 25% window. All right. And 18, 28, so 2842. That's about the peak for that. And we'll hold that pretty well, right? Okay, and then we're going to do a 50% window. Okay, and 1535, 1556 rather. That's about the peak you're going to get for that. And again, that's a 50% window. Okay, and we're going to go to a 75% window now. And for anybody wondering, that clicking sound is the calibration software. All right, 1059, that's what we have for a peak here. Okay. And we're going to go to a 100% window. And our peak is going to be 819.9, 820. So that's where we are right there. And just as a little bonus, we're going to do a 1% window. I did not do that one. Very tiny highlight. And we're at 813.90, give or take. So every way you look at it, this is just a wildly bright window. And I think the brightest was, I believe, 25 for HDR or 10. I think it was a 10% window that was just astronomically bright. So let's check that out. I'm not too sure if that was the window that got really bright. That's not the window that got really bright. I believe maybe a 25% window. That was the one that probably got really bright. But you guys see it. It goes up and down on a variable level. Again, that one's at 28. It's just really bright. And again, now something to consider as well. You aren't always going to get the same consistent level of brightness too. So sometimes it just throws out highlights a lot faster and a lot harder than, you know, it usually would. But about 2800 is what this thing is mostly on average sitting at, which I think is pretty damn impressive because, I mean, literally just, I mean, that's pretty bright. All right. So I don't think there are many people that have a problem with that. But that being said, you guys saw what the TCL QM8 of 2024, also known as the QM851G, is all about for brightness. So that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.